So now, what we're going to do right here is take you to school. Okay? Right? ABC. But first, before we do this, we're going to a scripture that have everyone believe that we're supposed to deal with time and holy days like the Passover that we're celebrating next week according to the moon. Right? Elder Lawyer, if you will, do me a favor here. And let's get Sirach. I'll pull it up here. And we can get this out of your Apocrypha, because a lot of Israelites use this. Right? Let's get this out of your Apocrypha. Let's get it here. 1 second. Sirach, which is Ecclesiasticus 43, right? The Bible says, through thy precepts, thy get understanding, right? So this is what Hebrews and others use to say, well, okay, we must set the new year or the new season and the Passover and others off of the moon. Now, this is how Jewish people claim to do it. They use the slither of the moon, right, for their new year and count 14 days from that. But here's the problem. Every year they got to do the same thing. Right? The Passover with Jewish people never fall on the same day every year, which is off. Why? Because the moon is off in calculating an annual year. It's math. But I'm going to show you the scriptures that confuses people. Right? Just speaking of seasons, time, Elder Lawyer, if you will, let's read Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 43 verse 6. Read that.
Yes, sir. Sirach 43 and 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world.
Read. And a sign of the world. Read.
From the moon is the sign of feast.
From the moon is the sign of feast. See? Now the question is, do you declare feast strictly off a moon? No. Because from year to year, the signs of the moon, depending on what day of year the new year starts on, changes. So you just can't use the slither of the moon, because that's right. That sign can be the slither one year, and then it can be a full moon another year, because the moon is out of season. But they don't tell you that. But I'm going to straighten it out for you. Read.
He made the moon also, verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world.
A sign of the world. Read.
From the moon is the sign of feast.
It's the sign of feast.
A light that decreaseth in her perfection.
Now, did it say to calculate the feast according to the moon? Did it say to calculate the feast according to the moon? The answer is no. The answer is no. So what does it mean, a sign? Every Sunmite Jubilees, the Most High bring forth eclipse where the sun and moon comes together. There's a certain amount of those that will lead to the final eclipse, which is Armageddon. Okay? Now, the astrologers have always known this. Abraham even knew this. Right? So let's break it down so you can all understand it. Thawada for everyone who's supporting the work here. Thawada. Think about this. So why can't we use the holy days or calculate the holy days using the moon? Great question. Well, think about this. An annual moon cycle is 6 months, 30 days, and 6 months, 29 days. That's the annual cycle of the moon. Now, let's do this for the sake of math. Hence the reason they're messing up our schools, right? So to bring activism and all types of nonsense and screwing our children's brains up in schools instead of reading and writing, they want to go into intersexuality. It's to a point where our people can't even count anymore, which is intentional also. They're looking to dumb down society. But let's go here. I'm going to pull up a calculator here. Right? I'm going to pull up a calculator. Right? That's a calculator before you. Right? That's a calculator. Right? 6 months, 30 days. Right? So you go 6 times 30 equal 180, right? So we got 6 months, which equals 180 days, right? Plus 29 times 29, hold on. Let me do it again. $30 times 6, 180, plus 29 times, hold on, let me get it again, 30 times 6 equal 180 plus 29 times, it keep on multiplying, folks. So let's do it like this. I'm going to do it different. 6 months, 30 days. That's 180, right? So we're going to do 6 months times 29. 6 months times 29. That's 174. 174 plus 180 equals 354 days. That's your moon cycle every year. So it's impossible to calculate an annual year with the annual moon cycle coming in 10 days too soon each year. So how can you calculate a Passover from a new moon in the sky? Okay? Even our regular calendars that they have has 365 days, and they tried to level it off by using leap years and taking things out so to not go off course. So where are the other 10 days at under the moon? Where? So you cannot do that. You cannot use the moon to calculate holy days. You can understand, according to the correct calculation, what moon will be there for an holy day as a sign. See? Do y'all see this? They didn't expect any of you to use math. Right? Are you following me here? So the question is, well, how do we calculate a year according to the Most High to know when Sabbaths, when these days fall into place? Great question, right? Elder Lawyer, I need you to real quick go to the book of Enoch. As a matter of fact, before you go to the book of Enoch, let's get Hebrews in 11 to show that Enoch left a testimony. And you can find this also in the Dead Sea Scrolls, where the Most High even said in Revelations 12 that the earth would help the woman. You can't claim that the Dead Sea Scrolls and the book of Enoch was tampered with by the white man, because they were hidden. They were hid in caves. The earth helped the woman to swallow up the lies from the dragon, the Vatican Church. So you can't claim those records were tampered with, because they were hid by the Essenes intentionally. The Most High told the Levites to hide the records, and they were found in our current time. And this is how the Most High has given us back the time. Using those records with the Hebrew records, right before the coming of Christ, he have given the whole earth an opportunity to get back on time with the heavens. To get back in schedule. Because guess what? In heaven, time never changed. They thought to change times and laws down here. So this is the Most High getting us back on time with him. The times that we were actually living in and understood before the fall of Jerusalem. Folks, we're the people of Jerusalem. Jerusalem isn't in Africa, okay? We're the people of Jerusalem. Elder Lawyer, if you will, let's go to the book of Hebrews real quick. If you will, let's go there. Hebrews 11.
Sir,
and let's hear about Enoch real quick.
Hebrews 11 and 5.
Hebrews 11, verse 5.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death.
Enoch was translated that he should not see death.
And was not found.
And was not found.
Because God had translated him.
This was before the flood, folks. The Most High took Enoch up to assist in the judgment of the fallen, who came down during the time of Jared and taught mankind all types of evil science. They began to taint mankind with the seed of Nephilim. They began to create animals like your so-called dinosaurs and others to actually eat and consume the resources in the earth from man. And the Most High destroyed their behinds in a flood. That's the true story. Okay? Where the gods came down to destroy, and the Most High bound those particular so-called gods. The same gods who are now being worshipped by your elite, including the Vatican. They've hid this from you. Now, why is this important? I'm reading Enoch in the New Testament. So obviously, the Christians before the fall of Jerusalem knew something the Christians don't know now, or have been misdirected from. They knew about Enoch and why Enoch was translated, moved to the heavens to judge the fallen who deceive mankind on earth. Read.
By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death.
Come on.
And was not found because God had translated him.
Come on.
For before his translation, he had this testimony.
So you mean to tell me that Enoch had a testimony? Well, why aren't they teaching us about this testimony in the Christian church or any other of these bogus satanic religions out here? Because you'll realize the gods that were destroyed during the flood are the same fallen bound gods these so-called elites are worshiping today. The governments of this earth are still worshiping these particular fallen ones that were judged by our God. Whether you Hindu, whether you Buddhist, whether you a Muslim, all of them follow these fallen gods. Azazel was bound in the sands of the deserts of Dudiel. That's right. Even till this day, the Egyptians are major pagans over there. Many gods they worship. But what they won't tell you is that the god Osiris that's bound in the pyramid is the fallen angel Azazel. They've always, even in the conscious community, they worship these fallen deities and gods. And this is why they hate the Bible. They hate Hebrews, because we are exposing the gods they worship in secret. Okay? Guess what? Enoch exposes all of this. Christ knew of this. The disciples knew of this. Folks, you cannot tear down principalities and powers without understanding their origin. You must identify them first. And this is why the Vatican Church have hid this information from us. Because if we, through Christ, can take down the powers of the gods they worship, the Vatican and these other people who are in power have no more authority over us. So they've hid this. For before his translation, he had this testimony, read.
That he pleased God.
That he pleased God. So obviously, the Hebrews, the Israelites, the church understood this. Well, guess what, folks? Enoch straightens it all out. Huh? Let me pull this up real quick. Let's pull this up. Let me get this out of the way here. The courses of the luminaries in the book of Enoch. Right? So it's all about math. It's common sense. Math. We're going to give it to you today. Right? Here it is. The book of the courses of the heavenly luminaries, right? Chapter 71 in the book of Enoch. Now, this is what it means in Revelations 12 when it states that the earth will help the woman. The woman is Israel, who's being destroyed by the Roman Empire. The earth will open up its mouth and swallow the flood that came from the serpent. That's the lies that came from the Vatican Church. And when the earth was open, the book of Enoch was revealed by our God to us. See, Enoch had a testimony. They don't teach this in the church. That's why they've tricked you into following Satan under ancient Babylonian holidays. And it doesn't matter whether or not you're in Judaism or Christianity, you're following the same fallen deities. But our people are doing it ignorantly, feigning or claiming Christ. Right? Let's read this, Elder Lawyer, where it says the book of the courses of the luminaries.
Yes, sir. Enoch 72:1.
Yep.
The book of the courses of the luminaries of the heaven, the relations of each according to their classes, their dominions, and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, who was their guide, showed me. And he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all the years of the world.
All the years of the world.
And unto eternity.
And unto eternity. So time was calculated before the Romans, folks. Read.
Till the new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity.
Come on.
And this is the first law of the luminaries.
And this is the first law of the luminaries. That means what you see in the sky, folks. The luminaries are angels. The stars are angels. The earth doesn't spin, folks. The earth is still. Everything else moves. Those are the celestials moving around the earth. So this whole science we've been taught on earth is a bold-faced lie, including the bogus moon landing. There's no way you can land on the moon, folks, because the moon moves through portals. Okay? Following the sun, which is the stronger or the masculine light. Female or feminine follow the masculine. The sun is the stronger of light. It's through the sun time is determined on a 364-day cycle. It's through the moon signs come in each year depending on that cycle that we are to know or understand what? The signs before the end. That's the moon. The calculation of time when it comes to the annual year have always been predicated from the sun first. Think of this, and here's a good analogy or example. No one can tell time with a watch that only has one hand. See? No one can tell time what? Think about this, folks. No one can tell time from a watch that only has one hand. The ancient times, even the pyramids themselves, which were built pre-flood, man didn't build those pyramids, folks. Were what? How did they tell time in ancient times? The sundial. The sundial. You cannot use the moon for seasons and all that when it comes to calculation. So we're going to break it down so you can understand it. All right. Let's read it. And this is the first law of the luminaries, too.
Yes, sir. And this is the first law of the luminaries.
Yep.
The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of the heaven, and its setting in the western portals of the heaven.
Come on.
And I saw 6 portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets. And the moon rises and sets in these portals, and the leaders of the 6 stars, and those whom they lead. 6 in the east.
6 in the east.
And 6 in the west.
And 6 in the west. 12 separate portals on the outside of the earth. The sun comes through to give the earth light. Folks, the moon follows the sun in these courses, not the other way around. Come on.
And all following each other in accurately corresponding order. Also many windows to the right and left of these portals. In the first there goes forth the great luminary named the sun, and his circumferences is like the circumference of the heaven.
Read.
And he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire.
And it says he, speaking of the sun, the greater light, is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. Okay, the image of God is male and female made he them. The heavens are made of what? Both. Masculine and feminine. The moon is the lesser light that follows the sun. But Satan would do what? He would take out the masculine to throw off time, knowing that the moon come in 10 days early each year, and it would totally throw time off. Okay? Are you following me here? Right? So this is why, folks, under ancient Babylon and in Islam, which Persian mythology is ancient Babylonian religion, they use the crescent moon. The crescent moon is a major what? A major symbol of ancient Babylon, because it was the worship of Semiramis, the female goddess. This is why they pattern things after the moon. Under Judaism, they're still following Semiramis, the Babylonian goddess. This is why they've patterned the holy days of the Bible after the moon. So they'll tell you it's Passover, but it's not really Passover. Okay? So we're breaking it down from the rooter to the tutor for you today, right? Right? Now, Elder Lawyer, let's go all the way down here and let's go to Enoch, right? Hold on. Enoch 32 real quick. Enoch 32, still breaking down the sun. Speaking of the last day of the year, let's start at 31 here. Same thing. We're going to 72. We're in 72, and we're going all the way down to, if you will, 32.
Yes, sir. Enoch 72 and 32.
Now, to save time, I'm going straight to the last day of the year, where it tell you in Enoch how to calculate a year. What is the last day of the year? The moon has nothing to do with it. Okay. Let's go to 32 and let's read.
Yes, sir. Verse 32. On that day, the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the days to 9 parts.
To 9 parts. It says the night decreases, amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts. Read.
And the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as to its days.
And hold up. And the year is exactly to its days what?
364.
364 days. Equal parts night, equal parts day. Right? So it's dealing with what? How the sun, that's right, 9 parts is equal to the night's 9 parts. That's 364. Period. That's the last day of the year. 52 Sabbaths, which means every year, listen, every year ends on a Sabbath. The same way every week ends on a Sabbath, according to 364. See that? So if I count 2 Sabbaths after this, the 14th day, folks, that's Passover. 14 days from the end of the intercalary changing of season from winter into spring. And when that Passover comes in, Whatever sign of the moon it is for that year, that's the sign of the moon, which will change each year. But the fixed day of the Passover will not change. See? The signs of the moons from each year on Passover change, but the day doesn't change. Why? Because the moon come in 10 days early each year. So it'll take 70 years for the moon to get back on schedule, but the sun stays the same. The sun is how we chart time for 364. Period. There's no 365.00757 like they try to claim all this other garbage. 364. Period. Right? Now, Elder Lawyer, if you will, a few things we have to cover here. Let's go to the 74th chapter. 74 and 1.
Enoch 74 verse 1.
Read.
And I saw another course, a law for her.
A law for her.
And how according to the law she performs her monthly revolution.
Her monthly revolution. Read.
And all these Uriel, the holy angel, who is the leader of them all, showed to me, and their positions, and I wrote down their positions as he showed them to me. And I wrote down their months as they were, and the appearance of their lights, till 15 days were accomplished.
Read.
In single seventh parts she has accomplished all her light in the east, and in single seventh parts accomplishes all her darkness in the west.
Come on.
And in certain months she alters her settings, and in certain months she pursues her own peculiar course. In 2 months the moon sets with the sun.
In 2 months the moon sets with the sun.
In those 2 middle portals, the third and the fourth.
The third and the fourth. And it goes all the way down to 354 days for the moon in the book of Enoch. It goes, that means while the time is still going for the year with the sun, I wanted to go here because the moon, shows by Enoch, follows the sun through portals. And it tells us when the moon settles with the sun. But at the end of the 364, she's already 10 days into the next calculation. So if you decide to follow the moon, something happens. Things fall out of course. It falls out of course. Why? Because the moon can only give you 354 days annually. And this is why each year the Passover fall on different days under Judaism. So if any Hebrew or anyone else come to me and ask, well, what you talking about? The Bible says the moon. Well, it says the moon. The moon is for a sign. It's not to calculate the holy days. You got to know the day of the year to understand what sign you're supposed to be looking for when it comes to the moon. You got to know you got to know the month and the days first to know what sign the Most High is bringing through the moon. Now, there's more. Elder Lawyer. In the book of the Apocrypha, it tells us that he showed Esdras the secrets of the times. Esdras 14. Another record that's need for time. So now, we know that the secrets of the times is the book of Jubilees, which was given to Moses. He was told, Moses, here's records that I'll tell you to declare before the people, which is the first 5 books of Moses. And here's the records that you will hide to keep amongst the elders. Jubilees. Right? Now, Elder Warrior, let's go here real quick to the book of Jubilees, the 6th chapter. And I so happen I have a PDF of the original book in front of you concerning time. And we're going to go down to what? We're going down to Enoch 6, verse 32. Right here. Right here. Let me put it here so you all can see it. Now, he told Moses this, brothers and sisters. He showed Moses this. Upon our exiting out of Egypt at Mount Sinai. Right? Let's read. And command.
Yes, sir. Jubilees 6 and 32.
Read.
And command thou the children of Israel that they observe the years according to this reckoning.
He says, you tell the children of Israel to observe the years according to this reckoning. What?
364 days.
364 days. Read.
And these will constitute a complete year.
And these will constitute, hold up, stop right here. A complete year. 364 days constitute, according to God, he should know better than man, a complete year. Period. Man can come with 365 and a quarter and all this mess. You know, that's Satan. I'm not dealing with none of that mess. Okay? God said 364. Period. And what we do from the end of the intercalary day that leaves off winter in the spring, we count 2 Sabbaths to know when the Passover is. Period. Because God said so. The 14th day of the first month. Right? So it's 364 equal parts night and day that brings in that's the last day of the year. Then when when Friday goes down, we must count what? We must count now 2 weeks. What's 2 weeks from Friday? That means each year, folks, all the days are at a fixed time when it comes to holy days. And it has nothing to do with the Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that he used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book. And the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited.